Hi Year 3, here is your writing task this week. We're going to be writing a report on an inventor of your choice. So what is a report? There are many different types of report. For example, newspaper reports, which give facts and details about an important event, usually recent. Non-chronological reports, we actually wrote some of these earlier in the year, one on mammoth and one on Smilodon, and we didn't use any time words because it was just describing what the animal was like, what they ate, etc. So we didn't have to put them in any specific order. We're going to be focusing on a biographical report, an account of someone's life. Here's an example of one. This is Nelson Mandela. You may have heard of him before. This is a report about what he achieved in his life, which was his activism and leadership that led to bringing down apartheid and making sure that everyone in South Africa was treated fairly regardless of their race. This, as I've said, is a report about him, but not his entire life, just the main key principles behind his activism and leadership. Our report will also be doing something like that. It will be about the inventor and what they invented and why that was important. So famous inventors, who should I choose? There's so many inventors out there, it will be a bit tricky. On the packs that have come home, there are some websites for you to look at for you to decide who it is that you would like to write about. Here are a few more examples. So Thomas Edison, who created the light bulb, Alexander Graham Bell, the telephone, Steve Jobs, the iPhone, and Tim Berners-Lee, the World Wide Web, which is so important at the moment for us. I couldn't do any of this actually if it wasn't for the World Wide Web. Here's someone who you may not have heard of before. This is Madam C.J. Walker. She was someone who was born in the Victorian times in the USA, and she invented hair care products and used the millions that she made to help other African Americans to succeed as well. So she was a great inventor. Here's another one. This is Stephanie Kolek, and she was a chemist who invented the material that makes Kevlar vests, which are used by policemen and policewomen and officers across the globe for protection. Willy Wonka is a great inventor. He's someone that we have read about, and he creates products that children love to guzzle and gorge on. And even though he is fictional, we wanted you to think about someone who used their invention for good. In the story, Willy Wonka used his inventions and creations as a way to help the Oompa Loompas, again a fictional set of characters. What was it that the inventor you chose helped with? That's what we want you to really focus on. While I was thinking about this task, I thought for you guys something which is really important are the toys that you use. And although they are essentially for fun and recreation, they're actually really, really important for you guys to use and have fun with and be creative with. This website is about Ole Kirk Christensen, who invented Lego. Here's another one. This is about Erno Rubik, who invented the Rubik's Cube. And actually, Erno Rubik created the Rubik's Cube to begin with as a tool for teaching something to students that he had. So another very interesting invention. As I said before, in your home learning pack there are websites that you can visit to help you decide what inventor to focus on, but you may wish to do some more research about that particular person once you have definitely decided who it is you want to write about. So, report writing success criteria. What will make my writing successful? Well, first of all, facts are going to be really important. You might want to include dates or places, obviously what they invented and how they came up with the idea for their invention. What was it that prompted them to create it? Subheadings. You will have seen these before when we wrote our non-chronological reports. They're used to split your report into smaller sections, could be in the form of a question. A question is a good one because it helps to engage the reader as they'll want to know what the answer is to that question. For example, who invented the microwave? Where did they come from? How did they come up with the idea? Brackets. Again, we've used these a lot. They're really useful at adding facts or other details that are interesting for the reader. even though they might not be the most important fact in that sentence. And our challenge this week is, again, time adverbials. This report will follow someone's life as they come across their invention, so we will want to hear about what happened first and then what led to that. 1894. The reason for that is that that is the year that he was born. But I haven't got the whole date of birth. Early life, well, that's anything that leads to the invention, but you don't have to include every single detail, so don't feel you have to know absolutely every year of their life. For Percy Spencer, his early life, when he was young, because he was born in the Victorian times in the USA, the electricity that we now come to use all the time was very new, and he was very interested in that. And he became an electrician and then went to work in a paper factory near his home. The next point was about the job at the time of their invention, which is usually relevant to what it was they were inventing. Now, when Percy Spencer became an electrician, he then decided to join the Navy and use those skills, and actually got more involved in creating and developing radar equipment, things that detect other vehicles. And then while he was doing that, that's when he discovered that these microwaves that are created by the equipment actually melted things and could cook things, and decided to use that information to actually create something that can cook food really quickly. As I'm sure you all know, I'm sure lots of you have microwaves in your homes. I haven't gone into much detail about microwaves and how they cook food, because I think the most important thing was that he created it. And to begin with, these microwaves were so large, they're about the size of a door, about 6 foot tall, that they didn't find them everywhere, and they were too expensive. And the first one that was created was in 1947. However, now these microwaves, the technology has advanced so much, they are in homes everywhere. So just to remind you, the features of the text are facts, subheadings and brackets, and the challenge is to use time adverbials in your writing. So who is Percy Spencer? I'm going to use that as my subheading to draw the reader in. Who is he? Let's introduce him. Percy Spencer was born in Maine, USA in 1894. At the age of 16, so there I've started with my time adverbial, he heard about an opening at a paper factory that was going to be run on electricity, which was very new in the remote town where he lived. Therefore, he learned as much as he could about it and applied for the job of electrician at the factory. Spencer was one of 3 people who got selected for the job, despite the fact that he had received only a little schooling and no training. When he turned 18, he joined the US Navy, and there he learnt all he could about wireless and radio technology. Spencer was strongly motivated to learn all about science. So here I've just tried to include all the facts that really lead to him finding out about microwaves and how to create a microwave. So what did he do in the Navy? This really influenced his invention. Spencer became an expert in radar and worked at a company called Raytheon. Again, Raytheon and the company name is not very important in my bit of writing, so I put it in brackets, as the chief of his division. His expertise helped the US government to produce radar equipment which was invaluable in the Second World War. Under his leadership, the company expanded from just 15 employees to more than 5,000. How did he come up with the idea for a new microwave? Now, this was the most interesting aspect of his life for me, that's why I focused on it. His invention of the microwave cooking was purely a coincidence. One day while working, he crossed an active radar set when he noticed that the candy in his pocket had suddenly melted. His curiosity grew and he decided to experiment further by testing out different types of foods, such as unpopped kernels of corn. To his surprise and delight, they began to pop, making popcorn. Unlike others who had experienced the same, Spencer was keen to learn more about it. After completing more research and conducting more experiments, Percy Spencer produced the first commercially built microwave, which was between 5.5 to 6 feet tall, about the size of an inside door, in 1947. It was used in restaurants, railways and ships as they were too bulky and expensive for home use. Following further research and changes made to the design, the first microwave for home was developed in 1967. It cost $495 and could fit on a kitchen countertop. They cost about £60 in the UK now. So as you can see, as the technology has progressed, it's become cheaper and more accessible for people to buy. So, good luck with your research. Please make sure if you are using the internet to do research that you get permission from your parents, and I look forward to seeing your work.